Hi, Dr. Webb. The articles talked about classroom management. The first one gave like a couple of points about classroom management. They're about like 12 or 13. The first one was just talking less in general, like we talked about in class. So instead of like stopping your orchestra and saying that the second violins are out of tune in whichever measure, stopping the rehearsal and then having them play alone as a section and then talking afterwards and telling them what to fix and then playing again and then putting it into context with the rest of the ensemble. Yeah, and that goes for like talking less goes for like every part of the rehearsal, like warm up, the closure, just everything in general. Yeah, the second point talked about color coding, like color coding schedules, color coding like practice charts. Mrs. Terreri actually did this when I observed her. I had to pass out their practice charts for the week, and then during lessons they would turn in their old practice chart from the week before, and they were all different like each week was a different color. So like the ones that I passed out were red, and like the ones before that were blue, and it was really easy because I remember one kid was like asking what color it was, and she was like, last week was blue, and it was really easy for them to find it in like their binder or their folder because they were looking for a certain color, and they weren't all just like white sheets of paper in their folder, so it was really easy for them, and it's super effective teaching technique. Along with this, the article also talked about dating documents, so like bringing them out to dinner and paying for their meal. Just kidding. Putting a date on documents, and like the same thing with color coding, so you'll know like exactly when the document was from. Also along those lines, having a place for everything. So Mrs. Terreri had these little cubbies for the warm-up books that they used at the beginning of rehearsal, right outside her office, and it would say like cello warm-up books, bass, viola, violin. So she'd have one student go to, like, from each section, go stand up and get a warm-up book and pass it around their section. And it was super quick and effective at the beginning of rehearsal. They weren't like scrambling to find their warm-up books anywhere. Also having like a small container for found instrument parts, or just like having a repair toolkit. Mrs. Terreri had like extra shoulder rests in one bin in the front of the room, and like extra tuners and stuff. And when I did my observation at Glens Falls High School, the teacher I was working with, she had a toolbox, like an actual like toolkit that had stuff to like a wrench to take the fine tuners out and like screw them back in, or not a wrench, like a screwdriver to unscrew the fine tuners. And she had like all these different parts for the fine tuners like in the box, like stuff I would never even think of having, but that's stuff that you might need, if an instrument comes, like if a violin or viola comes without like a fine tuner for the A string or E string. That's something that would be helpful to have. Another thing that I thought was super important, and it was like one of the last points in the first article, was teaching practical skills to your students. So like if they have a music stand that's wobbly, teaching them to like pick it up and like screw it on the bottom so it's not like wobbling during rehearsal, and they don't have to come to you and be like, my music stand's wobbly or whatever. And then other stuff like telling them where to stack chairs if you have to stack chairs at the end of the rehearsal, or where to put the music stands, just like stuff that will save time in the future and you don't have to explain it to them like over and over again. In the second article, talks about more specific stuff like transitions and stress management. So the article talked about how you lose the attention span of your students between activities or like transitions. So like starting your sentences with "in a moment you'll blah blah blah," so that the kids know what to do and they're not like getting up and you're saying directions and having your students get up and walk around while you're in the middle of excuse me, in the middle of explaining something. Also, they talked about stress management in the classroom. They mentioned that like just cracking a joke could be super helpful in a tense like situation. And just staying positive in general will just help the environment to not be too stressful. You know, if like a section is feeling discouraged by a difficult spot or run, just reassuring them that like it's gonna be okay, and not making them like enjoy rehearsal and not worry about it too much. Yeah.